All right, so thank you guys for hopping on team call tonight. We definitely have a full house. There's a lot of people here, which is awesome. So thank you guys so much for taking the time. Our topic tonight is hustle less, right? So like, what? Hustle less? That's not a thing we say, but I am so excited to share this with you guys because it's something I've been thinking a lot on the past couple weeks. I think it's a really important topic. But first, does anyone want to share just something good from the past week? Just tell me something good. Doesn't have to be Plexus related. Anyone want to unmute and just share something good that's happened? Personal life, anything. I know something good has happened to someone.
I passed my glucose test today.
Hey, that is awesome. That's great. And Kristen's got her crib up in the background if anyone missed that. So baby time is coming for a lot of people here, which is awesome. Anyone else have something good they want to share?
My students went back to school full time today. I had all of my kiddos in the same classroom at the same time. So that was exciting.
That's awesome. That had to feel so good.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were thrilled too. That's great. Anyone else? One or two more? Something good this week?
My little niece came home from the NICU on Wednesday and is doing very well.
Good. That's awesome. Oh man, they've got to be so happy. Have her home. That's incredible. Anybody else before we dive in? Me? Okay, Victoria, tell us.
Sorry, I have a snuggler next to me.
That's okay.
But the sun has been shining like, I don't know, consecutive days in Ohio, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, I know. Every time the sun's out, I'm like, tank top, doesn't matter that it's only like 9.
Yes.
That's so good. Good. I know you guys get a lot of gray days there. So that is good. And it's a sign of things to come. Spring is coming. So I'm super pumped. Okay. Thanks guys for sharing. I'm just going to quick mute everybody because I forgot to do that. There we go. Okay. So diving right into our topic. So tonight we're talking about hustling less, hustle less. And normally you hear hustle more. We all have to hustle, 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 hustle. So this is kind of the opposite direction of that topic, but I've got some really good notes. And this was heavily inspired by a Bob Heilig podcast where he talks about consistency. And so I know Victoria shared that in our one chat. And if you haven't listened to that yet, please go listen to it. If you have listened to it, this is going to be kind of a recap and review of it. And hopefully we can have some good conversation around it. It really impacted me when I listened to this a week or two ago, and I shared it with some of you already. But I always have a big, long line of podcasts that I want to like catch up and listen to. But I've actually listened to this episode several times. Like that's how much this impacted me. So I took a ton of notes. I wanted to share this with you tonight. And I think it's something that is hopefully going to bless your mindset as we think about consistency and intensity. So the whole kind of premise of this like hustle less is that consistency trumps intensity. A lot of times we focus on the intensity of our work and we will think that we need to do massive action, right? So massive action usually looks like a huge list of unrealistic tasks. Like I'm going to message 25 people a day for the next 10 days. Or some kind of insane IPA challenge where we take on a ton of work and we have this all or nothing mentality where we're either doing like 500% all the things or we're doing nothing at all. So I don't know, has anyone found themselves in that zone where you're like, I'm either all in or I am completely checked out? Because I have definitely been there, especially early in my journey, thinking like, okay, I want to grow, I'm ready, I want to run, I'm doing this thing. And so you dive in with this like insane list of things you're going to do. And the truth is you just can't keep up that level of activity all the time. And so what you end up experiencing when you have that all or nothing mentality is if there's not a huge incentive, or a huge accountability thing going on to kind of prop me up, I just don't show up at all. I just kind of do nothing. So we've had incentives in the past where like, if you signed up 9 people, you got an Apple Watch, right? Or an iPad. And man, like everybody's recruiting because that incentive is driving us to recruit, right? Or we'll do an IPA challenge and you've got an accountability partner and the tasks are laid out so you show up in a big way. And those aren't bad things. Like I'm all for incentives, I'm all for IPA challenges, but it can get us in this mindset of this massive action. If I'm not doing a million things, then I'm not doing anything at all. And this really leads to a terrible mindset where we equate working with having no life. Okay. And I've thought this too, because I'm like, man, if I'm working this hard and I'm at this level of, Ruby or senior Ruby or whatever, if I have to increase my effort to hit the next rank, I don't think I want to do it. Because, you can get to a point where you have no life, you're burnt out, you have no time freedom, you're making tons of sacrifices you didn't want to make. And then you're asking yourself, man, is that what I really want? Like, is that what I want to do? So I jotted down and wanted to share with you guys some of my non-negotiables, because as our team has grown, like with this kind of business, you could literally be working nonstop, right? It never ends. Like you could message nonstop. You could be constantly on your phone, answering every message, in every chat, listening to every podcast and every training. Like it could go on 24/7. So I had to write down like, what are my non-negotiables? Because I want to build a business that honors my life, right? My business should support my life. It's not my life serving my business. Okay. So some of my non-negotiables I just wanted to share with you is I don't work on Sundays at all. And you guys might have noticed, like, I don't even respond in our chats on Sundays unless it's the last day of the month. I wait like until at least 2 p.m. to even look at my phone. So that for me is a non-negotiable because church and all that is really important to me on Sundays. And you don't need to work 7 days a week. Who wants to work 7 days a week, right? Everyone deserves some time off. I only do calls 2 nights per week. So other people have a different like lifestyle and, maybe they're willing to do more sacrifice of their time at night, but my time with my husband and kids is really important. So 2 nights a week, I lock myself in this office and I do all my calls, but the other nights I'm pretty much unplugged. I'll answer chats and stuff, but I'm not doing back-to-back calls. I give 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 in the afternoon to my kids. That's our homeschool time. And I may answer here and there. I hop on Power Hour 2 times a week. Other than that, I'm unplugged. I'm just homeschooling. And I turn my notifications on my watch off. I turn my notifications on my phone off. And that's fine. Like you can do that. So when you honor your priorities, and I want to encourage you, if you're wanting to build Plexus as a business, like you're looking for full-time income from this, no matter what level you're at now, write down what your non-negotiables are, because those are the things that you don't want to sacrifice. And you never want to get in the habit of sacrificing those things just to get ahead. Because what you end up doing is building a business, but sacrificing your life around it. And it's really, really destructive. So I want us to get away from that, like all or nothing mentality. What massive action really is, like what the proper definition of it is, just consistent action. It doesn't have to be an insane amount of activity that's impossible to keep up, just consistent things every day. So you guys have heard before, like John Maxwell says, the secret to success is in your daily habits. Like you're not going to change your life unless you change your routine. Those little things you do every day, those are the life changers. It's generally not like the huge bursts of action, but the little tiny things that you do consistently. And those small actions done consistently yield way more results than the little explosions of activity that we have. So I've noticed this for myself. Like there's IPA challenges are great. The incentives are great. They can kind of get you into action and kind of wake us up from the dead sometimes. But then the key is to sustain consistent action that works for your day, works for your lifestyle, works for however big or small your commitment to your business is. So I'm going to give you some markers of what this sporadic, explosive action might look like. And you guys can just like nod if you've experienced this. So first of all, recruiting for an incentive. There's a big incentive for recruiting, 3, 6, 9, whatever. And so you push really hard to just kind of get those people in so that you can earn the incentive. I have done this, guys. I think we have all done this. So that is a sign that external motivation is really important to you. You need the kudos, or you need the thing to kind of get you into movement. Everybody operates that way. We all love external motivation, but what really keeps you consistent is when you can internally motivate yourself. And this comes back to your why, right? The reason why you're doing the business, the reason why you're doing Plexus. When we can like live comfortably motivated with internal motivation, and then the external things are just like bonus, they're just fun, they're just extra, that is a good place to be. You may have seen this too, like these flash in the pan people where, you know, maybe they explode, they recruit a ton, but it's not sustainable, right? It's just like boom and done. We've had a lot of people like this on our team, and it's sad because these people have awesome potential. They're like dynamite. They attract people to them. They know how to get people excited, but they haven't put in the effort to sustain or to grow sustainably. So that happens a lot. And then the other thing that can happen when we have this explosive growth is just a failure to lead your current team. A lot of times, if you feel stuck, it's not really a recruiting problem, it's a leadership problem. All of us have, you know, one person or more on our team or customers that you have. And recruiting is just one part of demonstrating leadership to your team. I just want you to think about it this way. I talk to people about their goals, and a lot of people have a financial goal that they want to meet with Plexus, right? So let's say your goal is, you know, I want to make $1,000 a month. Okay, that is awesome, right? $1,000 a month. So we think of that in terms of ourselves, like, okay, I need $1,000 a month to pay my mortgage or whatever. And that's a great place to start, right? Your why often starts with your family needs and your personal needs. Okay, $1,000 a month is a Ruby ambassador for the most part, like average income, right? So if you're going to be a Ruby ambassador, you are going to be leading a team of 100 people, okay? So are you training yourself for that? Are you working on your leadership skills? Are you thinking about what kind of systems you're going to have in place and what your time commitment is going to look like and all of that to lead that team of 100 people? That shift is so important, because it's not just about the $1,000 a month you need. The work that it looks like to get there is all about managing your team, building your team, and growing in your leadership. And it's like we can't get to that size team until we've taken those leadership steps and grown ourselves as a leader. Does that make sense? It's like a whole different way of viewing growth in this business. And I love, love, love. Some of us are reading John Maxwell, Developing the Leader Within. So good. So, so good, guys. And even if you don't consider yourself a leader, you got to read this book because it helps you develop the leader within. Like it says, one of my favorite things so far is he says, don't be a ladder climber, be a ladder builder. And I keep saying this over and over because it hit me so hard. Like, wow, yes, if we just took the focus off of climbing the personal ladder of success and focused instead on building ladders for other people, like you'll automatically reach your goals, right? So every big step in this business is a leadership growth step. Okay, so that doesn't come from sporadic action or quick explosions of action, or I'm all in for 30 days and then I don't show up for 3 months. That is not leadership. That's you're being, it's basically selfish growth. You just want the incentive or you just want to hit a certain rank. So shifting towards a leadership mindset, and then just being honest about what is your realistic daily commitment. So when I hop on calls with you guys and talk about, your goals, I ask you like, realistically, how much time do you want to commit to Plexus every day or 5 days a week? If it's 15 minutes, that's great. Like I have no judgment on anyone's time and what they want to do. You can do as much or as little as you want, but whatever that commitment is, make sure that those 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 60 minutes is focused on the most important things if you want to grow. So your personal IPA, expanding your network, following up with your current team members, focus it on those important things, because 15 minutes of focused work is way more effective than 1 hour of scrolling Facebook, right? Okay, so less hustle, more consistent action. But what is the right way to hustle? Because I do think we need to cool it down. We need to not be so focused on explosive action and like unrealistic goals, but there is a time when hustle is important. And there is seasons in our business where we do push extra hard. So I think that those effective hustle times, they come effortlessly and without burnout when it's at the right time. So for example, when you're shooting for a rank up, you may make a few sacrifices on some of those things. Like I may do 3, nights a week working instead of 2, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't feel like burnout and it doesn't feel stressful when it's at the right time. Or when we are doing an IPA challenge as a team together, and you're going to put a little more time and a little more effort in that week. Like that's great. And I think that our success sprints are really smart in setting us up for like 90-day cycles, right? So are you going to hustle like a madman through the whole 90 days? No, of course not. But if you're getting really close to a goal at the end of this month, check your success sprint tracker, then you might want to hustle at the end to kind of seal the deal on the goal. But the thing is that it's the exception, not the norm. Like the crazy working or the, putting in the extra time or sacrificing a little bit of sleep, that's the exception. It's not the norm. And it's not how you have to work every day to be successful in this business. You do not have to live burned out. You do not have to live sacrificing all the things you love, because who wants to build a business and then look back and you've burned all your friendships, you haven't made eye contact with your kids in 2 years, those are things that are not going to make you happy. So learn to work in cycles, align with the success sprints, but more than anything, learn to enjoy the process, right? So I think part of the consistent action, part of the being comfortable with little action every day is just enjoying the process. So this comes back to having a strong why, right? Your why, the reason you show up, and simple systems. So just in our chat before this, Suzanne was like, I'm having a hard time with my 11 people. Like, how can you grow and like help all the people on the team? And the answer is training leaders, right? Like we have 800 people, more than 800 people on our team now. If I had to personally help every single one, like there's not enough time in the day, right? You can't do it. So training your leaders to help their teams is super important. So leadership development, and then having simple systems. So for yourself personally, what is your IPA system? What is your onboarding system when someone joins your team? And how do we create silvers, right? How do we help people go silver? Those simple systems are how we can grow a big team and not have to work like a madman burning the candle at both ends. Okay, I already said this, but don't focus on climbing ladders, focus on building them. That was awesome. And then be careful of how you define success. We focus a lot on rank ups, right? And rank ups are great because they give you that very tangible marker of growth, right? Like I went from senior silver to gold, or I went from silver to senior silver, or whatever it is. And we celebrate those rank ups big time because they are huge. But it can also be discouraging when you're working really hard and you haven't ranked up in a long time, right? Anybody there? Like you're doing all the things, you're showing up, but like no one's celebrating me because I haven't ranked up. And it can be frustrating. And I have been there, guys. I am kind of sitting there now. So be careful how you define success. It's not just the rank up. I love how Abby Kappa, and if you guys don't follow her, she is like really, really awesome on Instagram. She's got all these trainings, and she's a Plexus Diamond. She defines success as obedience plus my very best efforts. Okay, obedience plus my very best efforts. And she is a woman of faith. So for her, obedience, she's talking about like God's call in my life, the things he wants me to do, my purpose, like being obedient and stepping into that. So even if it's not the thing that's going to zoom me to the next rank the fastest, if I'm doing and I'm aligned with who God wants me to be, that's obedience. And then I apply to that my very best effort. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do the things. I'm not going to sacrifice every important thing in my life. I have my non-negotiables. That's my definition of success. And I love that because if you can look back on the day, the week, the month, the year, and say, I followed where I thought, God wanted me to be, or where I thought I needed to be, and I applied my very best effort, that is a successful day, week, month, year. So I want to encourage you guys with that. Those rank ups are just road markers of your growth. They are not the whole thing, and they're not going to happen all the time, right? The rank ups they're not every month. They're going to be few and far between, but the real success, and Bob says this on his podcast, you are a success, not when you hit the rank, but every day that you show up. Every day that you show up consistently, you are a success. When you hit the rank, of course, we celebrate it, but every single day that you show up, that consistent action, doesn't have to be massive action, doesn't have to be hustle every single day, but showing up, that is success. And I know we've talked about rest before, but it's also super important, guys, that when you come out of a season of like hustling and working super hard, that you also embrace seasons of rest. Okay. Because there's going to be times in your life, we've got a lot of pregnant mamas on this call right now. There's going to be times where you just need to honor a little more rest for yourself. And if you are like a driven person, like 5 a.m., I'm up, like crank. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, like, I have to rest also. Because yeah, I know I'm excited about all the Plexus babies. The last thing you want to do is burn yourself out, right? And we've seen people quit because they had no rest. They were just burning. And I think rest is super, super important. So I'm going to end with the analogy that Bob gave at the end of the podcast. And I thought it was brilliant. And so if you listen to it, I'm sorry that this is repetitive. He said, I'm going to try to say it the same way. Yes, popcorn. Okay. Anybody listen to the popcorn analogy? I know if you did, you want to hear it again. So, okay. He says your business and you are like a microwave and a bag of popcorn. And I immediately perked up because I absolutely love popcorn. It's one of my favorite foods. I don't know why, but I love popcorn. So what happens when you put a bag of popcorn in the microwave? What happens the first minute? Not a whole lot, right? Silence. Do you doubt the ability of the microwave to pop the popcorn in that first minute? Are you like, oh my gosh, it's not working. It's broken. Something's wrong with this microwave. No, it's doing its job. You let the thing go. What happens the second minute? Let's pretend it takes 3 minutes. I know some microwaves are faster. Second minute, pop, 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 right? Yeah, little bit's happening. Okay, it's alive, but nothing crazy. Like I'm not ready to tear it open and, get excited about it. But okay, it's doing something. And then what happens the third minute of your popcorn? Pop, 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 blowing up, right? Like it's going crazy in there. That's the explosive growth. And I love that analogy to your business. You are the microwave. The popcorn is your business. You apply consistent heat. It's nothing crazy, just showing up, right? Applying the heat, and it will have an effect. He says, consider it like months 1, 2, and 3. Guys, I'm saying years. Think of it in terms of years of your business. And I've told you guys, when I started, I had 3-year mindset. I'm going to be consistent for 3 years, not just I'm going to be here for 3 years, but I'm going to show up every day for 3 years and see what happens. That first year, maybe not a lot's going on. Second, okay, things are happening. Third year, it's going crazy. And I think it works with months too. I just wanted to think even longer term than months. But let's say January, you're applying the heat, you're doing your IPA. You may not see the fruit from that until the second or maybe third month. And you guys have experienced this. And we're having an amazing March so far. Like we've added 23 ambassadors to our team because you guys hustled in February, right? Like this team showed up amazingly in February, and that pushes into the next month because all of that momentum continues. So I love the analogy. And I want you to think about that microwave. The microwave never doubts its ability or its effort or says, you know what, I don't think I'm meant to be a microwave. I'm not good at this in the first minute when nothing's happening. If you feel like you're doing all the things and nothing's happening, just keep doing the things. It is just a matter of time before you're going to start hearing those pops. Okay. So I love that analogy. It was super encouraging to me. I hope it was to you too. And the whole idea of this is let's get our minds off of, I have to hustle, 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 to just settled, consistent action where we enjoy the process. We enjoy our community. We are passionate about bringing people in, but we're also committed to being the microwave, just slow and steady, enjoying the process, doing our job, not doubting ourselves or doubting our ability when things don't seem to be happening. Okay. So that is my encouragement for you guys. If you have any comments on that, I know some of you listened to it. If there was something else you wanted to share from it, feel free to unmute.